All right, good evening, everyone. You're welcome to class 5. Yeah, class 5 of the I-10 training schedule 5. So I believe everybody is up to date, except for the people that we are waiting for them to watch the video complete and then run their own practices, their labs as often as they can. So what happened last time, we hope that there won't be a repeat of that. We hope that all our network provided during this training, we hope that they are going to be supportive. So I had to take my time to record class 4 again and ensure that everything we covered was repeated. And that's where we're going to continue from this evening. Network administration, domain policy management, and domain controller replication. So let me confirm, can you all hear me loud and clear? You can unmute yourself and please give me feedback. Let me
Yes, boss.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we can begin right away. Like I said, we're going to continue with network administration. We created user during the last class. So we are going to create more users. We also create group. We will explore activities around users and group. And we're also going to create organizational units. So as I do this, I try to update the class notes as well. And like I said, I won't be releasing the class notes until after the class so that we all can follow, right? So this is my server. I'm going to sign in. I want to implore us always to please come to class early so that we can begin early. Okay, so my network or my password is not this long, right? Don't mind me. I'm using the other class password. Okay. All right, so we're waiting for our servers to come up so we can begin. We're going to create user. I think we're also going to need our client server, our client machine to also be up. So let me power that as well. All right. Okay, so in case you encounter situation like this, updates are available. All right. And you're sure that, so I'm talking about real life scenario now. You're sure that your server is the original one. Of course, it should be the original one. And you want to update this your server. If you go to get update, what it means is that it's going to try and connect to the internet, right? And I'm not sure I've shown us how you can connect this system to the internet. Although when you spin up your machine, it tries to, the network adapter that is there is the one that can allow you to connect to the internet. But let me officially or formally show us now. So if I click install now, can you see my mouse? It is hovering around network icon on my taskbar, you will see a caution sign on it. What that caution sign says is there's no internet access.
You can't see your taskbar.
You said?
You can't see your taskbar. It's only showing. I think you need to scroll down. Scroll down.
I can see your taskbar. I can see your taskbar.
You'll be able to see my taskbar.
We are looking at your taskbar.
Can you see my mouse?
Your time is 11:49 a.m.
Exactly. So please check
with
your system. Can you see my mouse?
I can't see your mouse right now.
Maybe you
are not using phone or tablet.
No, I'm using my laptop.
I am using my phone, but I can see your mouse.
All right. So please, maybe you should maximize your windows, your Zoom windows.
I just did.
And you
check the view settings that you use.
Okay, just continue.
All right. So the issue from your device. So please check around.
Just continue.
All right. So you see this logo here saying caution. It means that this virtual machine is not connected to the internet, even though my host is connected to the internet from here. So what you do to achieve this is that you have to power down this machine. Go to File, Close, Power Off, and say, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use another server to show us that. So this is a item server 2. It is already powered up. So if you click on it and you click on settings, come to network, right? You have adapter 1, you have adapter 2, adapter 3, adapter 4. On our item server and item client, the last time we wanted to ensure that they are communicating, we changed this adapter 1 card to host only adapter. Okay, so let me show us. This is my server, machine, settings, network. You see my adapter 1 here, host only adapter. But adapter 2, 3, and 4, the 3 of them are grayed out, meaning I cannot access them because this machine is running. And that's why I said, if you need to add additional adapter so you can browse, you have to power down this machine. But because this machine is already running, I wouldn't want to power it down. I want to use another machine that has already been powered, and that's item server 2. Right, because this machine is powered off, I'm able to access adapter 2, 3, and 4. So what you do is you come to adapter 2, you check enable network adapter, and you say NAT. Coming. Yep, you say NAT. If you drop down attached to NAT, advanced, this cable means that cable is connected. You say okay. All right, so what it means is that you have enabled Ethernet adapter for this system to communicate with outside. All right, so host only adapter.
What you just said now just happened to mine now. When I click on the local server, I saw it writing out updates are available. Require updates needed to be installed.
Okay. So if you try to do that, except if your NAT on your system are already, except if they are already enabled, what I just showed us now. If they're already enabled, that's when your system, your machine, your virtual machine can use the internet connection on your host. If it is only at host only adapter and you have not enabled a second adapter to carry NAT, it will not be able to connect to the internet or to outside network. Okay, so that's just for explanation's sake. I'm going to move ahead now. So what I want to do is, I don't want it to update so that it don't necessarily delay us. I'll be doing that later. So this is my server. It is up. And what we are doing right now is we want to create users, we want to create groups, we want to see things around the users and the group. So like I said, as a network administrator, this is where your office is, your ADDS. Your ADDS is where your office is. This is where you'll be doing most of the things they'll need you to do. Are you setting password policy? Are you creating user? Are you giving authentication to someone? Are you protecting the security or access of your network? This is where you do everything. All right. ADDS is like another course that they take up to 3 months to teach people. All right. But we are just going to show you the necessary things. Okay. You can always develop on it. I can get material if you have time to read, but the knowledge of Windows is good. That's not where we are going. You need this knowledge so that when you get to higher pedestals like Linux, like AWS, when you see where these things are automated, you will appreciate it better, because now that you are doing it manually, you will think it is a big deal until you begin to see everything being automated. All right, so we come to tools, Active Directory users and computers. We want to go and play around users, groups. Like we said in last class, you expand this, you expand user. And the last thing we did here was we created accounts for George Olabimi. In that video, we said that George Olabimi is now the country manager for East Africa. All right. Can we go ahead and create more? Can we create more? How do we create? Can someone walk me through from here now? I want to create like 2-3 users more. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
you can.
Yeah, Prof. Yes. So you right click on the user folder.
Okay.
And then go to new.
Okay.
Then you scroll down to user.
All right, thank you. Okay, so who is in class that we can create for? Can we do for Ademola Ayeni now? No, we've done for a man. Let's go and do for a lady. Miss Adeola, you're in class, right? Your first name is Adeola. Do you want to give us your second name? I think you're the country manager for South Africa now. So what do we use? Do we use Adeola so and so, Adeola item? Are you in class, Miss Adeola? I hope our network is not doing our strong thing. So let's move on.
Adeola Sumono.
Oh, that's a thank you. Adeola Sumono. So what do we do? Like we did for George Olabimi, A.Sumono, right? At item.com. Next, let's create a password. Let us say the first one is item 2021 spirit. Let's see that.
I don't know why my network freezes anytime I try to talk. I don't know why.
Okay, but we can hear you clearly now. So just follow the class. Someone has helped us with your
name. Okay.
All right. We said that Miss Adeola Sumono from South Africa, she's the country rep for South Africa for our company, the same company that Jojola Bimi works for, and that's I-10 International. That she's gonna change her password on first logon. Finish. We've done that. I think that too is okay. Let's come to our client and log in. Oh, we still have Jojola Bimi here. Other users now is going to be other users. So because we are seeing item, we don't need to do all those item slash. So let's just go ahead. A dot Sumono, right? Item 2021. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, what's happening? All right, let's just put item here to be sure. Item backslash.
No, we don't need to put item. It's going to go.
All right. Oh, we're already in.
It's logging on for the first time, so you need to
already.
check password.
I thought it actually bounced the password. Don't mind me. I'm on Express today. I want us to move as fast as we could because what we want to do from this point on is just click. Let's create a user, a new password. I think we give George computer. Let's give her to computer 2021. I'm saying this out so that you can follow me. Normally, she's the one doing this in our office from South Africa. Only her knows this. But so that you can follow me, that's why I'm saying this. Let's sign in. We are changing password. So while that is happening, okay, next thing is, all right, so Ms. Adiola Sumonu has been able to successfully onboard from our office in South Africa. Now, from here now, like I said, we can do many things, okay? We have created users. So let's highlight that red. We can also create group as well, okay? But let us walk around the users we have created first. This is Adiola as a user here. I think we should have Jojola Bimi somewhere here. Okay, so let me now quickly explain this now. These things, you call them folders. In Linux, you call them directory, all right? But here they call them containers. Remember that the first user we created, Jojola Bimi, we created Jojola Bimi on the domain, but we created Adiola from the user container. There is no issue. We can actually create from any point, okay? And what I just did is I tried to move Jojola Bimi as a user on the domain into the user. So it's going to ask me, moving objects in ADDS can prevent your existing system from working the way it is designed. For example, moving OU can affect the way that group policies are applied. Since we have not set any group policy so far, we say that we want to move it. Yes. So if I open here now, I should have the two of them. Did you see country manager from East Africa, Adiola, country manager from South Africa, all right? If you double click on Adiola or you right click and say properties, it's gonna tell you the same thing. Either you right click and say properties or you double click. Okay, so if you want to fill all these things, you can fill them. Are we in class?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right. All these things we can do. the address, you see, she's going to be in South Africa. So these things are just there, however you want them to, okay? Now, accounts, see where I'm going now. From here, I can do many things. I can say user must change password at next logon. I can say user cannot change password. I can say password expires. You can see the numerous things you can do. And you can even disable our account. Try to show
we were trying to do account last week. It was not going to.
Okay, so it actually disabled. When I tried to log in after the class, it told me that this account has been disabled. Please contact your administrator. However, words of mouth does not cut it. So let's disable this account now. Okay, I'm sorry, Ms. Adiola, you've just been added, so we're going to disable your account. And then we'll log out, log in log in George Olabimi and try to log you in again. Or instead of disabling her, let us disable George Olabimi that we already logged out. Okay, and I also show us something that whenever we come here and do, we must enforce it. Account is disabled. Apply. Okay. Right. So we've done that. We've disabled our account. What else can we do from here? We can also create group. Why don't we try and create a group? We can say user, new, create group. All right. What's our group name? Let's say sales.
Schedule 5.
You said? Oh, schedule 5. Thank you. Schedule 5. Our group scope, is it going to be domain local? So domain local means that this group, schedule 5, they are only going to be usable within the item domain. All right. If it is global, it means that they can access other domains within that forest. Do you remember when we wanted to promote this server to a domain controller? It asked us to create a new forest because there was no existing forest. So global means that it can exist, it can operate within that forest. All right. And universal means that this server that has this group, this schedule in this server can operate within all the forests, right? So let us say the two of them, George Olabimi and Adiola, they are both working for Google, all right? And we add them to a group called Schedule 5, and we set that group to be universal. That means that group they belong to, if it is set as universal, they can access Google Oklahoma, they can access Google Antarctica, they can access Google. So Google can say a forest for Africa, another forest for North America, another forest for Australia, a forest per continent. All right. So if we set this group at universal, it means that this group where George, peradventure George and Adiola belongs to this group, they can access all the forests that Google ever have. Okay. But if we set it at global, let's just say within the forest, that means it can only be in, let's say the forest that this server is deployed to is for, let's say, Asia. If it is global, that means they can access all domain within Asian forest, okay? If it is only domain, let's pick a place in Asia, let's say China, or let's say Singapore. That means domain, it means they can only access Singapore within the Asian forest. I hope we get the scope now. So that is the scope of the group. And then for group type, it is either security or distribution. Okay. For security, we say that security group assigns to access network resources in bulk. All right. And distribution is for distribution of, say, mails or things. So let me break it down. Security means that this group, only member of this group can access a particular portion on that server, either in the domain, if it is in domain, within the domain, or in the forest, if it is global, or within universal, if it is all over where that company exists. Or we say distribution. Distribution means that if I send things to a group, only the members of this group will get it, or only the members of this group can access a link I provide. All right, I'm sure you are getting it now. So let us say security, let us make the domain local and say, okay. So now we've been able to create a group and we call it Schedule 5. See our group here. If I right click on it, I can say properties. Members. There are no members in this group yet. Can you hear me? It is raining here.
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Loud and clear, right? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes.
So we have created Schedule 5 group. And this is it here. Mind you, we created that group inside the user container. I can right click on item, the domain, and say properties. Sorry, item, the domain, new, and create group. If I create group here, it will be on the domain, not within the user. I can also move this object between users and the domain. All right, these ones here you are seeing here, they are called containers, or you call them organizational units, OU. All right, they help you.
I have a question.
All right, please ask your question.
Okay, if you create a user under domain, okay, what's the difference between creating a user under domain or under user?
There's no difference actually, but it's for orderliness sake. Okay, because the user you create here is still within the domain. Remember, we created George Olabimi from the domain, right? And we were able to find Olabimi in from here, okay? And then we created Adiola Sumono as a user from South Africa on the user here. And we are still able to sign her in, okay? And then we moved George Olabimi from the domain container into the user. It's still the same thing. But for orderliness sake, all right? So that in case you need to access them together. Now, let me show us something now. Let me show us something. Look at this group here that we just created. Is a security group. Right-click, save properties. This group does not have any members yet. Let's say we want to add someone to this group. All right. See what they wrote here. Select this object type. Here, you may not be able to see objects that are not in these files, like users, service accounts group. All right. Look at this. From this location, from this item, this is where I want to add them from. What I want to add is what? User. What's the name of the first user? George. Let's see if we can bring it. Viola. Look at it here. I want to add George. I'll say, okay, George is now a member of this group. Can I also add another person? Can I add Adiola? Let's check for her name. Is here as well. So the two of them are now member of this group. Okay, this is George. I can also add this group to another group. Let me say the members of the Schedule 5 group. Let me say I want to make them administrators because they are country managers of their respective region. Right? Let me say I want to make them administrators. I can say, okay, so member of what? Add administrators, right? Member of administrators. Let's search. Add administrators. Admin. Okay, group object type. Okay, so, being a security, we are not able to add it here. Okay, we're not able to add it here. So assuming we have some other organizational units, we can be able to add them. All right, so let me just apply this first and say, okay, we can add them individually. I double click or right click on one of the user. I said member of, oh, perfect, see it here. They're already member of what? Schedule 5 group. Can I add to where they belong to? Let me say, I want to also make them member of administrator. Oh, look at it here. I can say, okay, so make them member of administrator. I say apply. Okay, so what it means is functions are available to administrators. Ms. Adiola Sumono can also perform. All right. We disabled George Olabimi. Let's go and check. What do I do from here? The person signed in here is who is signed in here? Adiola Sumono. Okay, so can we sign our house? Why are we signing our house? Because we have only one client. But you know, in real life, clients represent your desk, your workstation. It can also be one system, right? But it represents one station. Who has ever been to Ms. Adiola? Can you are you in class? Can you attest to this? Who has ever been to a bank and you need to access internet? They just created they just give you your internet logon and they ask you to go and use that system at the customer desk office. Has anybody experienced that?
Yes.
All right. So what they did here is what we are doing here. They just installed clients on that system, and each customer that goes there has his or her own username and password. All right. You go there and you sign in and do what you need to do. And from the server, they are able to control what you're able to do within that system. All right. So assuming someone that created my user logon for me, my bank or internet details for me, mistakenly made me an administrator. And I get to the desk, the customer, whatever desk, and I logged in. And I have that inkling that I could go and, or let me just say, let me try and access something. And I go access. You know that someone has given me undue power. And I can log in from that point and do many things. All right, so the last one, let's sign in as another person. Let's sign in as a J. Olabimi. We say password is computer. Okay. If you are able to log in, then I'll show us what I say I'm gonna show us. Okay, while we are waiting for that, let's check our tracker. We've been able to create group. By now, you're able to create group, right? Yes. Can we move ahead?
Yes, please, I was just sorry.
Please ask your question.
That we created, like, is it the same one that is linked to our Outlook? You know, like on Outlook, you have groups like within the work space.
Yes.
Like, is this one? Okay.
Yes. So that group now can be organizational units. So we are able to sign in here, Olabimi. All right. Meanwhile, we have disabled Olabimi. So let's do this. Let me power down this machine. Okay. And start it again. We'll come back to that. Why it is starting up. Okay, so it's starting. We'll come back to that. And let's see, even after we disabled George Olabimi, if we are able to sign in after we power that machine. And now I'm going to show us how we can do that without having to power that machine, how it can take effect immediately. I'm going to show us. It's just to go and force it on our command line interface, and we are done. So the question that Ms. Adiola asked, assuming you are using Microsoft Outlook, which has been synchronized or connected with your domain, you can create group. The group can be for many things, but the group specifically here are for two purposes. Let me show us. They are either distribution or security. But we can also have other groups. We call them organizational units. But we cannot create OU from the user. Organizational unit is a domain property. Okay, so you cannot see organizational units from here. You have to come to the domain itself, right click, new, and you see organizational units. See it here. Okay. Let's say for someone that works in a Guinness Nigerian PLC. I once worked in Guinness Nigerian PLC as a maintenance engineer. So let's say they are brewing department. So this is me on Outlook, Ms. Adiola, trying to create a group such that when I want to send out mail or I want to do something, I don't need to be looking for the names of my brewing department members. I can create an organizational unit. I say protect container from accidental deletion. I say, okay, all right. So look at it. This user here is under domain. It is not under user. I'm sorry, this OU here. I can now right click on it and begin to create users. Are we following? And begin to create users.
Can you go back?
Hello?
Okay.
Sorry, I'm having small issue.
Please ask.
Okay. It's actually on the Zoom. I can always, my name is boldly displaying where the screen is so small up and I cannot even see it.
Can you maximize your Zoom?
Yes, it is maximized.
So check the view you're using.
The view standard.
I'm coming. Okay, so before I do that, someone say, can I go back to something? I'm coming back to you, Mr. Aaron. Someone say I should go back to something.
Yes, as in how you created the
organizational units, brewing departments. I just use this. Let me delete it. Actually, I want to delete the OU name. I said yes. Look at this. So let's kill two birds with a stone. You do not have sufficient privileges to delete brewing or this object. It's protected. Remember when I was creating it, I checked a box, prevent from accidental deletion, and now I cannot delete it. How do I do that? You click on it, you come to view, you say advanced features. From advanced features, you come to right click here, you say properties. If you go to objects, you can uncheck that button. You apply OK. I cannot delete it. Okay, then I can release advanced features. So the person that asked how I created it, look at it again, please. Right click on icon.com. You come to new, just the same way you want to create group or you want to create user. This time you create organizational unit. What name do you want to give it? Let's say you want to give it sales, the sales team. All right. If you try to create it on the user's container, you will not even find organizational unit here because it is a domain property. So all the sales team on this domain, either sales in East Africa, sales in South Africa, sales in West Africa, sales specifically in Nigeria, you created a unit for them. Okay, you either create a new user inside here, or the users you already have, you can add them to this place. Now, the person that wants to know if the users on the domain and the users inside the user, the clients on the domain and the clients inside users are the same. Can we check something together now? We are learning together, right? From here, let's see if we can add one of the users here. Let's see if we can add this person to sales. Object type. Group, let's see. It cannot be found. So we cannot add someone within the user into sales. So,
sorry, I want to ask a question.
All right.
Okay. I'm talking from my own side now.
All right.
Okay. After creating users,
yeah,
maybe I want to set up a new system for a user.
Okay.
I've sent the user credentials to the IT admin.
Yeah.
To help me to create a AD account for the user.
Okay.
Then after the AD account has been created, I got a notification from my email. So AD has been created. This is the AD, what the AD is. And I said, okay. I will now prepare the system, join the system to domain. The user will log in. Then I will now send a, maybe, at that first point I was sending that credential, I will not tell my admin, that's the IT person, that, oh, this user you are creating is actually so department. I will just say, please kindly create so user.
Okay.
So after joining to domain and the user has logged into the system the way it should, I have to send a mail to that admin telling him, oh, kindly move this user to his appropriate OU.
Okay.
So now, with what you were trying to explain, that we cannot move users to a group, or we can move them to OU. I don't understand that part.
Okay. But look at this. Did you see this? Your account has been disabled.
Yes.
All right. So I think we are clear on this now. But we have to power down these clients before we're able to get this. So I'm going to show us how we can enforce it. Please remind me later on. So let's go back to our, let's come here and find George, Olabimi, and enable. Has anybody been able to see George Olabimi, right? Account. We uncheck the account is disabled. We say apply, okay. Another thing we can do, if you right click on it, you can reset password. Okay. Now the question you ask, look at it here, add to a group.
Okay.
All right. But the group we are adding him to is a group within the user that I created within the user. So what we wanted to confirm is, let us create a user on here, on the domain. Let's create a new user on the domain. Where are the people that we have? I think we have, let's see. Okay, we have Aaron Gift. Now let's create you as a user here. Okay, this is Sumono. Sumono is member of Schedule 5. She's member of domain users. Let's say okay. Okay. We are trying to make new user this time. Aaron Gift. H.gift. All right. I10 2021. I10 2021. Finish. All right. This is Aaron on the domain. This is sales, an organizational unit. Let's see if we can bring in here. Yes. Did you see that? Have I answered your question?
Yes.
So the person that also asked now, what's the difference between creating user on the domain?
So you must create it from the domain, not inside.
Exactly. I think it makes sense to create your user from the domain. Are we all in class now?
Hello? Hello?
I can hear you.
Okay. Meaning you must create it on the domain, not the folder name user.
Yes. This user, we didn't create it, is already here. All right. They all have.
When you right click on that user, we can create user from that user. When you right click, click on it.
Yes, you can also create from domain, and they all have their own differences. Okay. However, if the user, so like say all the country managers, South African, East African, I can create them on the domain. All right. And say, look at this organizational unit. This sales, I cannot change it, but I can say this organizational unit is, let me describe it as all country managers. All right. So country managers can now begin to create users because they are members of admin as well. All right. And likely in their own respective units, they will also have servers. This is me operating from the headquarters, maybe in Geneva or in Switzerland, wherever. All right. So the person that asked that question, what's the difference between user on the item and the user inside the user container? We now have a difference now. User within here are only useful within this point. All right. We cannot move them out of here into, should we create an OU, you cannot move them into an OU. Okay, but you can actually move a user from here into this point, like we did for Jojo Ladimi.
Okay. But
I'll move the user from here. Let me just finish this. Okay. We can move the user from here into I10, and from I10 you can move it to sales, like we did for Jojo Ladimi. Let me see, where is Jojo Ladimi? This is Jojo Ladimi.
Look at it there.
Yeah. Move. right click on George Olabimi and say move. Okay. If I say move to domain, I say okay. All right. See George Olabimi here. Is now now on the domain.
Okay.
So from here, I can move.
Can I move to any to OU?
I want him to be in this OU. Are we in class, everybody? I want to hear from every other person, please. I don't want to lose anybody. Are we in class?
Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you. Other people, please give me feedback. Are we together?
We are together.
I don't want to hear from Mr. Haron. I want to hear from everybody. Please give me your voice or mute and tell me that you're getting what we are doing. Because as a network administrator, this is your office. ADDS. Most of the things you're going to be doing is around here. All right. So the security and authentication level at the itan.com at the domain level is not the same as the one at the user level. What the user can do here is limited. What the user can do here is more than what he or she can do here. Are we getting me? Are we in class, everybody? Please give me feedback. Give me feedback.
Right.
All right, so we've been able to explore activities around the users. So I can color that. We have also been able to, okay, this. Have we created organizational units? Yes, we have. So within the past 1 hour, we've been able to create users, to create group, explore activities around users and group. We've also been able to create what? Organizational units. All right, so at this point, we could not sign in George Olabimi because we disabled his account. All right, maybe for a reason, he's on suspension or something happened. Okay, maybe we sensed foul movement within his account. It was disabled, but now it has been enabled. Let's check again if it has been. Okay, so far so good. Do we have questions? Clarification on what we've done so far? Please ask me.
Okay.
Questions.
My question now again.
All right.
I think it will be advisable when someone wants to create a user, you just create it on domain. Since user on domain can move to anywhere.
Well, it depends on what you want to achieve.
Okay.
You have,
because
let's say office. You can manipulate it however you want to.
Okay. All these what was it called? All these ones we are seeing already.
Yes.
Like this DHCP user, admin user,
yes,
domain user. What are they that are just there? What's happening?
They are not. They are not. They are not just there. All right. Look at domain guest. All right. If I assign this one to a guest, it means that. Let's double click on it and see. Domain guest means that this person is not staying so long here. Okay, so let me give you an instance. While I was working with a servicing company a few years ago, before I joined my current company, I had to do something for ExxonMobil. So we did a study on one of their oil and gas reservoir, and then we need to give them the result of the study. However, the headquarters of ExxonMobil, they also want to see that result. So what they did for me on their website, on their domain, is they created a guest user login and password for me. They called it external users. Okay, so if any one of us here is familiar with SAP or Ariba, all this stuff, they're like Windows Server as well. All right, they created a guest user for me. And what that means is I have limitations. Within the next 7 days, it's going to expire. Okay. I have places I can go once I'm able to log in into that their domain or into their server. I cannot go. Some things are naturally grayed out for me. In fact, the only thing I could do is to upload and download. They just opened small visitors door for me. So everything you want to do, put it here. They will now find a way of getting it from that point. All right. So that's another way you can use domain guest. So instead of them sending me their email, and then I have to send it to their mail, or I cannot begin to bother them, asking them to give me job from their email. They just created the guest accounts for me on their domain. And after also number of days, that guest account, if I use that login ID again, I won't be able to. So these things all have their uses. Okay, but like I said, ADDS, look at it, ADDS. You can do 6 months, you are still exploring it. All right. But what makes sense is know what it is for. It's just like me saying, coming from South, I pick a South young boy and I say, and I dump him at Ojota in Lagos. And I begin to ask him to begin to meander up and down. Lagos is wide, isn't it? But if I give him address, this is where you are going, he's able to face where he's going. The same thing it is on ADDS. There are many uses to this thing. On a domain as a server administrator, important thing is know which one you are asked to work with. All right. And because we are showing you the basic, all right, you can just look at this and say your boss can call you from Aberdeen headquarters of the organization and say, okay, so do this on ADDS for us. Because you already have the knowledge of how ADDS work, you know where to go to. You can do like, before you do 20 clicks, you're able to solve your problem. Right? So this is it. If you want us to begin to pick this one by one, like DHCP users, it means that these people here are only DHCP users, DHCP administrators. So this one now, it actually concerns people in IP addressing and networking. This one concerns those in what? In server name, DNS. So do you think we can finish this if we begin to explore it?
No. Just give us, this is what this one is for. This is what this one is for. Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to tell you now. All right. So we can move ahead. Other question, please. We are done with class A. We're moving to B, domain policy management. Do we have other questions? So we are able to sign in into George Olabimi after we went back and enabled his account. So he can now function properly as East Africa country manager. Okay, so questions, please. Are we in class? How many persons are here?
East Africa country manager. I know that's not a fact.
Oh, it's just for instance.
Okay.
It's just for instance, like when we created George Olabimi, we say it's going to be, where's George Olabimi now? Okay, we moved him to, all right, look at it. Description, we say it's going to be the country manager, East Africa, and the management. All right, so it is something we can actually do for you that you are in CIS as well. We can say yours is a West African country manager. So it's just
a description.
Exactly, just nomenclature. All right. Are there questions? I'm waiting for your questions in the next 3 minutes. Let me take 1 or 2 questions, please. We have 14 persons in class. Mr. Niyi, Mr. Progress, you're welcome. You came in late today. I hope all is well. Mr.
Progress. Nice.
You said?
Sorry, good evening, sir. I was on transit. I just got in now.
Oh, Thank God for joining me. You're welcome.
Amen. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Remy Iwayemi, you're welcome. Are you with us? Mr. Sahid, Mr. Wale.
100%, Prof.
All right, Mr. Tosin Oyebamiji. Are you all with us? Miss Adiola, the only lady in the house, are you with us? In fact, if we didn't carry everybody, we must carry Miss Adiola along.
I am. Thank you.
All right, so let's move ahead, please. Domain policy management. All right, so within this domain, these groups that we have the sales group, we have the user group. We can do many things to them. All right, we can have policy around their password. We've done this. We can have policy around their password. We can have policy around many things. Okay, many things. So let's just go and check the many things now. Okay. From your server, don't forget, as a network administrator, your server is your workstation and your ADDS is where things are happening. All right. But AWS, Amazon Cloud, or Microsoft Azure, that's Windows Cloud, have made things simple. All these things they are doing here manually. In cloud, they are all automated. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, you can set protocol, you can open ports, you can close down one with just code. Okay, so if you come to tools, you come to group policy management. Tools, group policy management. See it here, it's blinking. All right. We have a forest, and our forest name is Python.com. You expand it, see what you're going to see. Okay. We have domain. So far, we have just one domain here, and that's what you're going to see. Python.com. That's the domain you have inside this domain, which is inside the forest. And domain is what? You expand it, and you see all this. Where are we going here? We are coming to domain controller. You expand domain controller as well. Please follow me gradually, good people. If you right click on default domain controller policy, default domain controller policy, you're going to see edit. I right click on it. I want to edit my group policy management editor and see what we have here. This is another place where things are happening. So for now, we'll be working around computer configuration. And as I can also expand policies. We want to go and check policies for password. From computer configuration, I can also expand Windows settings. So far, so good. Whose eye is turning on your own now? Because I have expanded many things. If your eye is turning on your own, please tell me. So I can close all I've expanded and begin again. Are we in class?
My eyes,
They are turning on your own.
My eyes, I'm telling you.
You know, like I said.
Besides, I don't know if
you said what?
I don't know if I'm the only one. I said I don't know if I'm the only one. For like 5 to 10 seconds, I will not hear your voice.
I think it's your network. Is anybody that has experienced a blankout? 5 to 10 seconds.
I have not.
So I think
so that I'm just trying to say this so that it won't affect the recording.
No, it won't affect the recording. Yeah.
Okay.
It won't.
Okay.
So
please let me go over this again.
Let's close.
My eyes are turning.
Okay, even me too, my eyes are turning on you. It's just that I've been doing this 24/7. That's why I'm acclimatized. This is what we will not do. We want to go and set group policy management. The groups we created here, we want to go and set management for them, policy management for them. And how do we do that? Tools. From tools, you come to group policy management. All these things here, we'll touch some of them. We'll touch DHCP, we'll touch IS initiator, we'll touch system control, we'll touch services. So let's just take our time, right? But for now, let's go to group policy management. And we say when that opens, you expand the forest. The forest so far is item.com. When you expand the forest, you expand your domains. So that's where we want to work on. That's what we have so far in the forest rather. If you expand domains, you will see all the domains we have created. We just have just one domain so far. We're going to create one more today. I hope time permits. You expand this. This domain, this server is a domain controller. And that's why we are coming here. Domain controller. You expand it. When you expand it and right click on default domain controllers policy, you say edit. When you edit, it will load two configurations for you, computer and user configuration. We want to load computer configuration. We come to policies. Either for software, when you want to install software, or administrative, when you want to install administrative templates, or Windows. But for now, you're coming to Windows, so expand Windows. All right. When you expand Windows, security settings, do you double click on it? Let me quickly back up with that. Okay, you double click on security settings. Yeah, so we're good to go. Double on security settings, account policy. Are you following me? Let me do that again. When I expanded policy, my concern, like I said, ADDS is wide. It is you that knows where you are going. You navigate, find your way around to where you are going. Okay. Windows settings, security settings. All right. If you double click on it, it will load this. Account policies. All those accounts that you are creating. Here you can see, select password policy, account lockout policy. Let's just start with password policy. Look at the policies around password. Enforce password history. Let's click on it. So enforce password history. These are the properties we have. Let's see what it explains. It says this security setting determines the number of unique new password that you have to be associated with a user account before an old password can be reused. So who has ever tried to change password on his or a Google account and it's telling you this password has been used before? Has anybody experienced that?
Everybody.
No, don't say everybody.
Prof, apologies, Prof. Please, I don't know how you got to this place. Apologies.
All right, so let me show you again. Where was the last thing you saw that I got to, please? You knew I got to this point?
No, Prof, no.
Okay, so let me just do this one more time and let us all please focus now. Tools, group policy management. We want to go and see policy around our password. I promised us this during the last class that this password that we are seeing now, we can also set policies around it. That's what we want to go and see now. So our GPM has created a new window for us. If you expand this, you will see all the domains that you have. So far, we have just a domain. You expand that domain as well, okay? Our business is at what? Domain controller, because that is who this server is. He is a domain controller, okay? You right click on it and you say edit, all right? User configuration is where our interest lies. All right, ADDS is wide. Only you know where you are going. Okay. Policies. Is it for software? Is it software installation policies? Do you want to allow user to install software? Okay, is it Windows settings? Is it administrative templates? But it is Windows settings that we are coming to. Okay, and it is security settings in Windows. So if you double click on security settings, that's how we go here. And we want to look at our accounts first. All the users we've been creating, the Georgiola, Bimi, the Adiola, Sumono, the Haron Gift. Okay, we want to see policies around that account. And in that account, we have 3 policies: password policy, account lockout policy, Kerberos policy. I've not explored this, but let's try this too first. Password policy now. All right, click on password policy and say, let's enforce password history. And we go here and I asked us, whoever has tried to change their email account password and try to use one they think they are using in their mind, and it says, you have used this one before. Mr. Aaron said everybody, but I don't want to believe it's everybody. Who has ever asked that? Maybe try to change your Facebook account and say, oh, you've used this before. So you can see it now. So, you said?
Even the iCloud does that as well.
Okay, thank God. So I'm getting witnesses here. All right, so this is it. This is it. So security, the value must be between 0 and 24. So if I set it to, if I say define this policy and I set it to 1, what it means is it will remember one password. So maybe the last password you use, it will, if you try to use that password, it will not take it. It will say it has been used before. But if you use the last second or the last third or the last 24th password, it will allow you. But if I set it to 2, or if I just say 24, so the last 24 password you have used, you cannot reuse it. You must create a distinctly unique password. Do we get this now?
No, be Juju be that.
My brother na Juju. But everything, like we said, your server is important. Everything here is just to ensure that your account is protected, especially if you are sensitive. For people like Mr. Adela that works in bank, they know what all these things mean. I'm not sure as a Mr. Adela that works in bank, if you're able to use the last password you have used, I think they are going to really advise them against it. All right, so you can set it here. Okay, we can also come and say password, maximum password age. Okay, it says this security settings determines the period of time in days that the password can be used before set system requires the user to change it, from 1 to 999 days. Can we do a quick mathematics? 365 divided by 999. That means about 2 years and some months. Isn't it? Yeah, so if I come here and I check it, and I say password should expire in how many days? 999 days. Like Amazon AWS does this. If I create a user on my IAM role in Amazon, automatically that password is, that user password that the person is using on my own account can only be used for, I think, for 2 months. After 2 months, you must reset it. So this is something like it here. Okay, password, maximum password age, minimum password age, password length. Or I can say password length is how many characters. For some people, it is what? 8 characters. 6. Okay, 6. Some say it is 8. It depends on what you want. Right, let's see another policy. Password must meet complexity requirements. Look at it here.
Oh, I always encounter this one.
All right. So complexity requirements, like say, I want it to have one uppercase. It must have alphanumeric. It must have a special character. Thank you. You get, this is it. All right, we enable this as well. Stuff like that. Store password using reversible encryption. Okay, so if you want to be storing passwords, okay, using reversible, of course, this policy stores password if I enabled password history properties, because the only way it can know that this password has been used before is because it has cached that password, it has it in its memory. All right, so that's it with policies around password. There are policies around account lockout as well. Okay, account lockout duration. This one happens often. Maybe when you try a wrong password 3 or 4 times, look at it. Security settings determines the number of minutes a lockout account remains locked out before automatically become unlocked. Okay, so maybe something happened, you are locked out. Maybe you try to attempt a wrong password, you are locked out. I might say, okay, see, if account is locked out like this, I want it to remain locked out until the user contacts me, the server administrator, something like this. Are we getting it? Account logout duration. If I say define policy, account is locked out for minutes, 60 minutes, 1,000. Let's check. Okay. If an account threshold is defined, no. Okay, it's from 0 minutes to 99,909 minutes. How many days are here? If we divide this by 60, right, we should be able to know. If we divide this by 60 divided by 24, we should be able to do the number of days here. So cancel, I'm not doing that. Account lockout threshold. What does this mean? This security setting determines the number of failed logon attempts that causes a user account to be locked out. Oh, it is here. So you have, what mobile app are you using? Who is using CUDA? Who is using Bamboo? Who is using Rice? Is anybody using any of these apps here? CUDA, Bamboo, Rice, Piggy Bank, all these mobile apps, fintech apps. There are some that if you enter the wrong password 3 times, it locks you out straight up. All right, Mr. Albatunde, please ask your question if you have any. Mr. Albatunde, we are waiting for you.
I really want to testify that I'm using those apps you mentioned.
You want to what?
His network is bad.
Yeah. Can you say that again, please? Okay, so
I'm using one of those apps.
Can you type it on the group chat? Type it on the chat so you can pick it from there. You're trying to say something about the apps. But what I'm saying is these apps, what happens on those apps is what we are seeing here. I can't log out threshold. Okay, I think before in those days, Yahoo Mail, if you enter the wrong account 3 times, they lock you out and they send a notification to your alternative account that you used to tell you that someone or you have tried to log in 2 times, or it will force you to go and use remember password. This is it. The threshold, account threshold. Reset account lockout counter after. Okay, so this account lockout, these 2 policies here, it has counters. Okay, and things can happen. You can reset it after a particular number of lockouts. All right, but why we have to come to this far point is, as a network administrator, if that's where you want to stop or you want to take it further, the ball is in your court. I would advise you take it further up to DevOps engineer. But if this is where you want to stop, these are some of the things you're going to be doing day in, day out. It looks as though there's no work here until you get to production environment and you see that really there are people within the organization that are trying to break in into other person's account. Whatever they want to go and do, you really don't know. But they want to, they absolutely want to break in. You have seen movies where spies try to go into office at wee hours and to breaking into, you logging into maybe the MDs of the company account, this and that. These are some of the things you see. All right. Around, let's see, what else do we have here? Okay, so assuming you have done any of this policy, assuming you have enforced any of these policies, the policies around password, the policies around account lockout, the policies around software installation, all right, there's a way you can enforce it immediately. You can enforce it immediately without having to wait. There are some policies that will only take effect only when the client logs out and tries to log in, like we did for George Olabimi. It was when we powered off that machine and then we powered it on, that disable took effect, okay? But you can actually do that to make it work immediately. What do? You go to your command prompt and you enter group policy update and force it. Group policy update and force it. So you come to your what here, you say group policy update, force it, and then you enter.
Space.
Is there space? Let's see.
I normally put space.
You don't need space.
Okay. Well, I normally put space before the backslash.
Before the, oh, okay. So look at it. Computer policy update has completed successfully. User policy update has completed successfully. Straight up. Computer policy, user policy. Let me show us again. Computer policy, user policy. Group policy management is here. Edit. Computer user. All right. Computer configuration, user configuration, and that is what you see here. Computer policy, user policy. All right. What have we been able to do here? Group policy management. You see these three, I'll just discuss them. There's really nothing for us to do there so that we don't waste our time. All right, so let's go and check. Tools. From tools, you can come to event viewer. Tools, event viewer. Let's see what is an event viewer. It's only log. All right, Windows log. Remember, I think first or second class, I told us about logging, that your server logs everything you do on it. It logs everything you do on it. So how do you do that? You come to tools, you come to event viewer. Event like activities that has been going on. All right, is it around the application now? Things, see, number of events so far, 821. Look at them here. Look at them here. Is this security? Is this setup? Is this system? So let us assume you work with Glow and you are in the server room. And because it is Glow, it must be 24/7 operation. So a set of network administrators starts from 8 a.m. in the morning and they close at, let's say, 5 p.m. By 4:30, the people taking over from that shift would have resumed. All right, they take over from 5 p.m. They take it to 8 a.m. again in the morning, because it is always servers, like we have said, observed before, is running 247, 247. It doesn't time out. It doesn't time out. When are the days, Mr. Adeola, you and your people, when we get to bank, you will hear our server is down. So you cannot check your account balance. Those things, I think they are now things of the past. Or at the banks you still get to now, and they tell you the server is down. Don't tell me Union Bank, because that bank originally, we always know that.
Oh, they are strong, big, strong, and reliable.
they are not strong anything. we just know that they are.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
It's a simpler, smarter bank now.
Oh, really? You must be working in a Union Bank.
They changed their name.
I can't say. Simpler, smarter bank. That's
okay, their slogan.
That's our slogan.
Okay. Oh, he said and now he said that's our slogan. I caught. You know. So, gonna those days when you hear server is down, you now see people panic themselves in inside bank. Cashiers will be playing ping ball on their computer. No, servers now, they are okay. So we'll get to that point where we're going to treat server replication. Okay, thank God for what we have in our country now, but early enough in developed countries, they don't rely on one server. They have 2-3 servers that are actively working. They call them multi-servers. Please excuse me. They call them multi-servers. Such that when one server is done, there are 2 other servers that are working, doing the same thing. Write, read operations. Not only read only. Write and read and execute operations. Google now, as a matter of explanation, Google has more than 4 servers. All right, so if one server in a country goes down, you won't even know it. And there's no time you go to Google website that it tells you server under maintenance. All right, and there are people manning these things. So what got us here is, I'm trying to explain, because server is operating 247, because people are in the server centers, data centers, they're working 247. When I resume for my own shift, let's say my shift is 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., I can come here to tools, to event viewer, and I can see everything that has happened during when I was at home while the other shift was working. I can see it here. So I'm just trying to show us these logs. All right. This is a caution sign. Something is happening. So I can see what is happening here. All right. Or the person that finished the shift before me can leave a shift note and say, okay, so at so time, I set this thing to do a check. All right. And I'll be like, oh, at that time, I might actually be going to eat because it is midnight. I have to eat once it's 12 p.m. I'll go and check from the view and I've forgotten what he said. He said, I'll come to tools, view, event viewer, look at it. This was what he said. Maybe he asked the server to do a backup of data up to yesterday. I said, well, at that point, I will not be available. I want to go and eat at the canteen. So start the backup in 1 hour time. I can change it. So these are the things you check here. Event viewer is basically logs of activities that has happened. Either Windows log, on application, security, setup, system, and like that. All right. I've shown us that. So you can color this. Resource monitor. Let's go and check. What's in resource monitor? Tools, resource monitor. So on your local PC, when you do Control-Alt-Delete and you want to see what is happening, can you see what we have here now? Is this similar to what you normally do on your local PC? Does anybody know what Control-Alt-Delete means? Yeah. So you can see here, maybe your server is dragging, and then they called you from Istanbul, the headquarter office, and say, administrator at West Africa, you can see your server is dragging. Do you want to check what's happening? You come to Resource Monitor. Maybe at that point in time, your server is trying to back up all the data on Glo and MTN together. All right. So maybe you are a server hosting Glo and MTN for something particular, and then the server is dragging, and the Oga at Istanbul noticed it, and then the person paged you. Please have a look at your server. We can see it is struggling here. So you come to where? You come to Resource Monitor. Oh, you can now say, oh, okay, so Glo and network are trying to back up. You can pause one for another. Say, okay, let me pause Glo for me to back up, or let me pause. Right, these are examples of the usage of these things. Like I said, we're not going to waste too much time here. I'll just explain them and we move ahead. Computer management. Let's go and see tools. Computer management. What's in computer management? System tools, task scheduler. So imagine I say task scheduler. Once it is 10 p.m., what's a common task you can do? Once it is 10 p.m., run a background check for malware. Am I using too complicated words? Does anybody know what malware is? Don't I see people? Do you know what malware is? Malware are programs that are trying to crash your system or to access your server or your system without your permission, or to introduce pollutants into your system. They are programs. Okay, so I can schedule a task here. Right? I can schedule a task here and I can say at so time, do this. All right. So if I schedule this task, let us link this story together now, good people. If I schedule this task and someone takes over from my shift, if it comes to tools and event viewer, he's gonna see that at a particular time I schedule a task, and it can monitor if the system, if the server actually undertook that task or not. Am I making sense? Please give me feedback. Is anybody lost? Hello?
We are here.
We are here, sir.
Feedback, please. I want feedback. I want feedback.
Sir Femi, go and take water.
Yes, I have water in my hand, so I don't know what's happening to the aching. Thank you.
Sorry.
I'm drinking water actually. So please give me feedback, please. We have looked at the things here, right? Computer management, you can schedule tasks. Oh, event viewer is even here. Performance, they are here. All of them are here. So basically, that's it. ADDS is broad, good people. ADDS is really, really broad. All right. Is it broad that you cannot access it? No. It is broad means that you will find solution to what you want to do within the network administration here in ADDS. That's it. That's it. So we've come to the end of domain policy management. Am I loading you too much? Do we pause here so you people can drink water too? Or we move ahead? We have about 10 minutes more. Let's use the remaining 10 minutes to discuss. All right. Where are the folks in class?
All right. We should stop
All right.
recording now.
Now I'm still recording. So talk to me now. I'm here. Talk to me, everybody. I'm here. We have 10 minutes more. Let's discuss what we've learned so far.
Okay.
Questions, please. I have Remy, I have Sahid, I have Wale, Progress, D. I can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Okay, quick one. It's almost getting exhausted. Okay, a
quick one. I guess network doesn't want it to make it quick.
One. Some of what some of the things you didn't show us that are there that you didn't take us.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see that we may not be needed in server administration.
Okay, so it depends on the task you have at hand, your aim. All right, so let me think of something. So you're a server administrator, and then someone says they want you to link, they want you to give them access for their own server. Okay, excellent. Look at it from this way. Access Diamond, they matched, right? Access took over Diamond. What do you think happens to the server on Access and Diamond? Are you with me? What do you think happened? So obviously, Access is going to onboard Diamond's network, Diamond server, so that users, account users, customers, bankers on Diamond can come to Access network and still be able to access their account. Are you getting it? Have I showed you that one in this place? No. So if that time comes, what happens? You know that it is from ADDS that you can actually solve this. That's one. The second thing is, as a network administrator, in real life, you cannot do everything. There are people that they are also network administrators that their own role is different. All right, your own role as an NA might just be you attend to new users and then within the organization. Okay, another person's role might just be networking. They are still within ADDS. Do you get it now? So the roles are what? Forget Nigeria. Oh Lord have mercy, I just remember the situation now. I saw a job advert. You see, this administrator is going to do DNS, is going to do DHCP, is going to do networking, of all the systems. I mean, I was like, why Nigerians? Why do you like to enslave people? One person, all these things you listed. All right. But the funniest thing is the HR that listed those things might just go to the internet to just go and copy it. But in real sense, what that person would be doing might just be carrying RJ45 cable up and down to see, Madam, are you browsing now? Madam, are you browsing now? You're browsing, okay, and work don't finish. You know, a friend of mine has got a job with an IOC. IOC, I mean, International Oil and Gas Company. And all that he was doing was just on Excel. After 2 months, he now went to go and meet his line manager. He said, excuse me, what have you been doing in this office is Excel. Is this what you employed us for? I said, yes, this is IOC. One person will not do everything. It is Excel. If we need to train you more, we train you more on Excel. But at the point of the interview, they were asking him things on SQL, structural query language. They were asking all those things. And all he has been working on things was on Excel. Do you get it? So it is important that you are vast, you have knowledge on these things. Okay, but in real practice, it is not you that you will do, or you are in a team of other network administrators. You do your part, you pass the button, the person next to you is pass, you pass the button. And before you do any job, you have job discussion. Okay, so we want to onboard Diamond Bank onto our own server. How do we do that seamlessly? I don't think that is the job of one person. It is not possible. It's something that the old network administrators and even DevOps sit down and plan. Do you get my question now? So all those ones I don't teach you, I don't know all of them as well. I mean, I have limited knowledge of, I can say I know much on ADDS. I've worked with ADDS a lot. I know much about it. But even with so much I thought I may say I knew, my knowledge is still limited. Do you understand?
I understand perfectly.
All right.
That's true, though. What you just said is actually true. The way I currently work now, if I need a static IP, I will talk to the IP guys.
Exactly.
They'll give me a static IP. Maybe for a machine that want to be a server. You know, for servers, we use static IP for them.
Of course,
for clients, we use DHCP.
For server. It must be permanent.
Yes. Yeah. So I will request for a static IP to set up those ones. They will be the one I will give. I will not even stress my head. All I have to do is you just collect and use. Then after even using, the guy that will create, I will not even be the one that will create anything. I will create the credential, I will create and send to me. It's just for me to use.
Exactly. So you see,
I go my way.
You are in a team, but in a way, you have understanding of what he is doing. So in case you need to troubleshoot, you know, okay, Oga, can you please check your side on these things? So that's how, and that's the essence of this training. All right.
I was actually, since we are still discussing, I actually worked with one bank before as a system administrator.
Okay.
I encountered an issue whereby one particular application the application was not working. An application is a legacy application. And we're not like, what was happening? I have checked all I should check. Check the environmental variable to check if it's licensing issues.
Okay.
Everything was okay from my end, but I cannot reach the application.
Yeah.
Then I have to relate to the third level support guys. We started working together, try, not knowing that the security team did not actually permit, because what really gave me issue was some systems were working, some systems could communicate to that particular application, meaning they could communicate to that server.
All right.
Not knowing that the security guys
They
did not
limited the
permit
access of some other users.
They did not permit the VLAN. Yes, they didn't permit the VLAN, but they
Okay.
were permitting individual IP addresses of
look
those
at that.
systems because yes.
And you've been stressing, you've been sweating.
I'm telling you, for like a month,
Wow.
I was actually heading the registrar part of the bank, Veritas registrars.
Oh, okay.
So yes, I was interfacing with the bank because we are using the bank resources. Guys, look at what I'm facing. Since somebody is having access into that thing, all of that in the same VLAN, everybody should have access to it. I was killing myself. Once I escalated the whole issue when I could not do anything. So when the guy checked with me, he said, everything is okay now. He said, okay. I can't remember, there was something, he said, okay, telnet. He said, he now asked me to telnet. Yeah, I actually enabled telnet from command. He said I should telnet to the IP. Yeah, so when I telnet, there was no response, no packet was returning. He just said, security guys.
Let them check
yes, talk to the security, tell them to permit your VLAN. So he told me, said some of the IP were permitted, why the VLAN itself.
Some are actually not. And when we get to VPN, right, you will see this practically in play, whereby some IP range can be given access that they will say IP range between this for any class of IP you are using, maybe class A. Within that class A, the range between 1 to 10, give them access to this particular portion. The other range is anybody using devices, but they don't have access to this thing. I mean, you see the beauty of these things when you begin to do VPN in AWS, or even when we get to Linux as well. So, all right, good people.
Thank you so much.
Let me share my screen again, and then okay. There's something I want to show us. So today we've been able to complete network administration, domain policy management. All right. Tomorrow we are going to do domain controller replication. So let me just give us the background to this. Okay. So early in class today, you were saying that gone are the days when you get to bank and they will say server is done. Server are no longer done these days because you now have more than one server, all right, that can run concurrently to serve purposes. So when one server is done, the other from wherever they are being hosted from automatically takes over, right? It's just that it is expensive, but there are many IaaS now that make server available. So I've penned these things down. Let's read together. In real life, servers are always working 24/7. Okay. Does anybody here trades on the New York Stock Exchange? Does anybody here trades New York Stock Exchange or London Stock Exchange or banks? I just want to give us instances. Servers in that kind of place cannot afford to go down. You can imagine billions of dollars that will be at stake if for just 3 seconds the server hosting New York Stock Exchange goes down. It doesn't ever go down. And that is only because they have other multi-master servers around that support that server. All right. So therefore, to guard against failure of any sort, servers are replicated and made to be actively standby in case of failure of the primary, or you also call it master server. All right. The main goal of replication is to improve availability, right? And downtime is almost non-existent because of replica servers. All right, there's no time you log in. Okay, so another instance apart from banks is when schools resume. I remember those days in my university days when we are trying to do online registration. During the day, because there are a lot of people on the server, it's going to be slow, it's going to be dragging.
Very slow.
But the smart ones, they wake up midnight because people are sleeping and they do it. But assuming that school have like 4 different servers running concurrently to do the same thing, it doesn't matter the number of people you have on the server, you won't have any issue. All right. So that's why next class tomorrow, we are looking at what? Domain controller application. This is our domain here. This is our server here. We will create another one, promote it to become a domain controller, but not an active one. It's going to be a standby domain controller. So that's it, guys. I'll meet with you tomorrow. We have come to the end of the class today. In 2 hours' time, the video of the class will be ready. I encourage you to please practice what we did today. Take your time to practice it. Although there are many talk inside, but when you begin to do it, you will appreciate it yourself and you see that, okay, it is lengthy because you just need to do explanations. All right, so another thing we'll do is between now and tomorrow, spin up another server. That means between now and tomorrow, create another server. All right, so that tomorrow it will be easier for us. We won't have to waste time creating server tomorrow. So create another server tomorrow and let it be waiting. All right. So that's it, everybody. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow.
Hello?
If you have any questions, right? Someone is saying hello. Mr. Tosin, you have a question to ask?
No, I'm okay. I'm okay.
All right, so someone was about to tell us about the apps I was mentioning. Kuda, Bamboo, Piggyvest, Chaka, Trove. Someone was going to say something, but the person's network was bad. I asked the person to put it on the chat. I can see the chat here, nothing is here. Does the person want to share or we call it quit? 5, 4.
So the new server you said we should create.
Yes.
Are we going to create it to the domain?
No, just create the server and leave it there. Install Windows Server on it and leave it there. Tomorrow we will work with it.
Oh, okay.
All right. Thank you. All right, good people. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Good night.